Hi. Hey. Hello. It's Sunny, and welcome back, you beautiful people, to another movie essay. And to celebrate, let's talk about another gem from the Studio Ghibli catalog with the icon of the studio, most likely their most recognized and popular work in the 1988 classic animated masterpiece of a motion picture, My Neighbor Totoro. Let's just get straight to it. After aiding work on the animated series 3,000 Miles in Search of a Mother, Hayao Miyazaki, co-founder of Studio Ghibli, wanted next to create a new animated feature that would touch people in a way where it would entertain, but when people went to go see it in theaters, it will stay with them, even after they left the cinemas. Miyazaki would work on the characters, with Mei being inspired by his niece, and the icon of Totoro, with just the ideas of being carefree, serene, and like that of a forest keeper, with artist Kazuo Oga being drawn to the film with one of Miyazaki's images of Totoro standing in a Satoyama, the border zone between a mountain and flatland. The two would eventually debate on the film's color palette over Miyazaki's red soil coloring and Oga's black soil, with the finished film being more translucent. Oga's conspicuous stylistic approach to the film was acknowledged by the International Herald Tribune, French newspaper, as updating the traditional Japanese animeist sense of a natural world, how it felt spiritually alive. Oga's dedication to the project was so renowned that it led him to continue at Ghibli and become influential for the studio with his style. Many things evolved into production, with it just being one young girl protagonist evolved into two sisters, the ending changing, the opening scene not even being planned, the film originally being set in 1955, and its runtime just being an hour long. There were many techniques utilized during animation, and the film was only made by 8 people and completed in just 8 months. That is downright insane to acknowledge. The production paralleled Miyazaki's colleague, Isao Takahata, and his film Grave of the Fireflies, and thus, after Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind and Castle in the Sky, both films released as a double bill. It was one of, if not the most remarkable ever given to the cinema audience. And as for today, let's discuss Totoro's genius. What is there to say that hasn't already been said? Studio Ghibli are just the masters of not just Japanese anime, but just animation in general. Their catalog is just the most top tier, honestly probably the greatest animated works just ever, and Totoro proves no different. The gorgeous art style overall, with its blooming color brushes and overall painting format that is generally shared across their films, yet especially here, and just how all the environments and backgrounds in general come to life, from the very realistic and personality-driven homes, to the trees, roads, and clouds, to the flow of the air and blocking of all the animated characters, and overall detail and architecture to everything. It's a film you can watch on mute and still appreciate its gorgeous backgrounds. You can even be a casual moviegoer and the environments will stick out to you. The character design, subtle movement, and overall more reserved expressions from the humans and heavily excessive ego from the forest characters is fantastic. The film is very cute in its look towards the characters of this story and blend well with the backgrounds, feeling out of place but in a good way where they complement each other, where the film has a realism to it, and yet the characters being so animated helps remind us the story is real in emotion, but this film is still whimsical in its attitude. Satsuki and Mei really represent their ages. Mei, being the youngest, being so heavily adventurous, is reflected in her faces, movement, and emotions. Also, Satsuki, older yet still young to where she dresses aesthetically colorful, whilst being more naturally accepted in standard terms with her straight hair. The overall fashion designs are great for the characters, and of course the forest characters from Totoro, Catbus, Chu Totoro, and Chibi Totoro, let's call them Chu and Chibi, are so simplistic and great. Totoro is just this big boy forest rabbit thingy who you just want to hug. His kids or fellow young friends reflect that design, yet more stripped down due to their miniature appearance, and Catbus being literally a cat and bus rolled into what they're great, and yet the art style animation is great, especially when they run. Look at them, look at them running. They're fucking running like crazy. Throw them in the goddamn Olympics. Yet besides animation, the music greatly complements it as well. The score by Joe Hisaishi is splendid. The cinematography of frames, the angles, everything, it's just such a beautiful film. You have eyes, I hope you do. You see the result for yourself. Yet all these great environments and overall world, overall just aren't completed without. We have a more middle-ranging cast here, and every character is well written and equally important. Like always, let's present them from bottom to top. The people of the village our mains move to, which includes Kanta Ogaki and his grandmother Granny. Yes, that's the only name she has. And they're both great. Not much of a purpose for the story besides normal human support for certain scenarios across the film, yet they really work. With the townspeople overall, though rare in the story, really stand out in personality, from the eavesdropping children of Satsuki's school, the encounters during the search for Mei, and of course Granny and Kanta. Granny being your typical loving and caring elderly figure, yet standing out with seeming lore as to her potentially knowing of Mei and Satsuki's adventures with Totoro, having had them when she was younger and just being very supportive. Kanta being honestly the most interesting character in the film besides the forest creatures for me personally throughout the film, as he's a very mixed signal character. Does he hate our mains out of fear of their spooky residence or dislike from immature women confusion? Does he dislike Satsuki or secretly have a crush on her? Is it a combination of all or neither? And what I love is the film never resolves it nor even properly sets it up. It's just who the character is, and I like that. It's not like, oh, they're star-crossed lovers because that's the focus of the film and it's annoying for me when they have to throw in a romantic subplot, especially when a woman, either a child or adult, is the main protagonist, but I do like him as a character. First coming off as annoying and working effectively because the film does a great job of setting you into a childlike mindset via the writing. First coming off as annoying and working effectively because the film does a great job of setting you into a childlike mindset via the writing, but also eventually he grows on you and is quite a subtle and quiet character that truly sticks out. Then there's Tatsuya and Yasuko, father and mother of our two, and despite their little roles in the story, they are great. Yasuko is absent for most of the story due to her sickness, but her absence is noted and has an impact on the characters. We'll explore more in the next segment. But Tatsuya is a great father, honestly exactly how I want to be with my kid one day. He doesn't discourage his kids, he accepts their imagination, boosts it, plays with them, focuses on his work, and never fails to give his daughters attention. And I've always wondered if he could see Totoro. It's just one moment here. The adults in the story can't see it, yet I wonder if he can't see it, then what is he saying? His daughters having fun or doing the unbelievable, and his nonchalant response to the fun of the story is interesting. Even when he goes missing, we too feel that absence, and every time they're not on screen, we get anxious about what could happen. Now for our standout supporters in the forest creatures. Catbus, True Totoro, the medium one, Chibi Totoro, the small one, and of course, Totoro himself. Totoro himself being a large, furry creature with rabbit kitten features as I've analyzed, and it's just this lovable, non-verbal, yet facially translative spirit of the forest, accompanied by seemingly his two children, clones or just fellow creatures to Totoro and Chibi Totoro, as they just witnessed Mei and Satsuki and having a grand old time. They're heavily friends, and despite just being significant out of this world creatures who only have a meaningless fun part in the story until the end, they are iconic in design and character and manage to make the film stand out, whilst also, thanks to the great story, they allow the film to be great on its own even with their lack of on-screen presence. We then have our two main leads, sisters Mei and Satsuki Kusakabe, and they are great. They go beyond the adolescent sister dynamic and are just a very close bonding duo who, despite their age difference, are very young and adventurous, wild, and exciting individuals who go on a grand adventure in their new everyday life. And even when conflict occurs, still care for each other. The characters are all quite simplistic, yet their lack of conflict and sheer adolescent charisma makes them stand out and truly allow the film to deliver what it wants, aided by the incredible Japanese voice cast who embody the exact age and delivery their character's voice should extract, and it all works brilliantly, all coming out from the incredible script. Also, Catbus is the greatest character in the entire movie. I want it, I need it, and I want it now. My Neighbor Totoro works so well because it has no real plot, no real motivation or through-line thread, and that's one of the many traits that makes Ghibli such a strong household name. The story here is just a dad and his two daughters moving to a seemingly haunted house in a new village, trying to settle in whilst the mother of the family is hospitalized, and yet it's within that setup does the events of the film truly grow out into something meaningful. That's only so when you look a little deeper and choose to recognize what the film may be telling you. And in my personal interpretation, I think I have one such meaning. The film, in its purest heart, is just a film about the imagination of childhood and the will to stay together. A story about a loving father providing his two young gals a new home, and the adventure that comes from being such kids. And whether or not Totoro could potentially be real or an illusion, it doesn't matter. The kids enjoy the adventurous feel and excitement that adds instead of goes beyond everyday life, and their encounters with him don't take away their time from hanging out with other people, but really in being a way to escape the saddening burden of their current reality being what will happen to their mother. Like I said before, you feel the absence of a mother across the entire film, and for me personally, I was worried this would be another one of those kids films that went there and would end tragically, especially when Satsuki and Mei adventured out to await their father who's been missing all day. And when Mei goes missing to check to see if her mom will be alright, and both in our fellow neighbors and most greatly even our own spiritual friends or potential imagination, it aids us to our goals. The importance of our childish innocence will always help us get to where we need to, and to not keep us distracted from the harshness of life. It's to allow us to escape but eventually go back and comfort us into knowing everything can and will be alright. No different than my love for films. And I think that's a potentially beautiful message the film gets across for me personally. At least, this is how I take it. And I honestly think this is all I have to say about Ghibli's masterpiece, My Neighbor Totoro. A truly satisfying motion picture for the child spiritually in all of us. It's great, and I expect nothing less from the masters of anime, Studio Ghibli. I hope I made you love this film even more, encourage a rewatch, or otherwise. And I think that's all for today. Always remember, human imagination is our greatest gift. Use it well, to escape and re-enter reality. It's been sunny, and so long. Farewell, and goodbye.